Oh dear, what happened here? A lot of money has flooded out of the crypto market or been burned, but also out of the stock market. What exactly happened here? What is the market pricing in, or what is it afraid of? Hey, welcome to Crypto Owl. Yeah, as you can see, I'm back from vacation, a bit tanned. Normally, my attitude was like this, no, like that, and it would get really red. Yeah, just a little joke to start off. It felt really good with over 50 degrees in Turkey. It was insanely hot, but we made it through. By the sea and in the pool, it was manageable. Yeah, and then I come back. The day I arrived, Friday, was actually pretty relaxed. First stepping out of the plane into the rain, okay. And now, just one day later, yeah, the world is ending in Wacken, and the crypto and stock markets look pretty much the same. Just take a look at this. 1.1 trillion US dollars were wiped out in the US stock market. And of course, this has also hit the crypto market really hard. If we look at the daily chart, we see deep red candles, 2 in a row. On the one hand, there's the issue of inflation and a US president, who is really pushing back and saying, hey, we really need to lower interest rates now. Nothing's happening. And at the same time, the geopolitical situation has hit hard again. So we can see that the whole issue is flaring up again extremely. And the market, of course, is reacting out of fear, but also possibly pricing in, sorry for the noise, pricing in the possibility that a war, a nuclear war, that is nuclear powers, could be arming themselves against each other and getting ready for something where, well, we'll have to see where it leads. It appears that around 1.1 trillion US dollars have been wiped out from the US stock market. And this happened after Donald Trump sent 2 nuclear submarines toward Russia and also significantly escalated his tone in a post on X. And this is the X post in question. Due to the extremely provocative statements made by former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who is now the deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, I have ordered the deployment of 2 nuclear submarines to the relevant regions, in case these silly and inflammatory remarks turn out to be more than just that. Words are very important and can often have unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those cases. Thank you for your attention. And this post, as we can see here at 8 o'clock in the evening, so 2000 hours our time on August 1st, led to the markets correcting sharply downward. You can actually take a very good look at all of this if you simply go to 8 o'clock, then you just go right here. Here you can see the 20 o'clock hourly candle, the 8 p.m. hourly candle, right around here, because it was just before 8 p.m. when the whole thing was posted on Truth Social, and then at 1 minute past 8 it was posted on X with this, well, translation account. That's an account, or 8:10 p.m. in this case. That's an account that posts that, tries to do it automatically. I'm not even sure if it's automated, but he posts what he puts on Truth Social automatically on X. So sometimes there can be a delay of up to half an hour. In any case, we can clearly see here that after this statement, during the 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. hourly candles, things went down. Let's make the whole thing nice and big again, then we can see it exactly here. If we just start with the 7 p.m. candle and go to the lowest point where it was priced in, we see almost 5% in the Bitcoin chart. Yes, and this trend was seen across all cryptocurrencies. There are still a lot of completely red indicators here. Now, in our Telegram group, we showed a lot of indicators. Then, what else do we have? We still have Matic here, we have Solana, we have AVAX. So it's happening across all cryptocurrencies, although, well, AVAX hadn't risen that much before, so it can't fall as hard either. If we switch back to the 4-hour chart, it all becomes clearer, and so on. Yeah. Then, as I said, the stock market also dropped. I saw that. I posted the S&P 500 chart here on X, and you could see that it started out much lower at first. Let's zoom in. It started out much lower and even dropped further down. All of this happened after that announcement, and then the day of August 1st ended up maybe a little positive, but yeah. And that carried over into the weekend, and since cryptocurrencies also reacted so extremely, the crypto stock, meaning the crypto stock, of course, dropped as well, namely Coinbase's stock. It dropped sharply here. If we look from the 31st to the market close on August 1st, that's about, well, 17.5%, rounded up. Pretty rough, I'd say. The DAX was also affected by all this, and interestingly, it didn't even catch that 8 p.m. post. So, it took the hit earlier and will probably continue to price it in on Monday. And yes, as we can clearly see with cryptocurrencies, things kept dropping further. Of course, this didn't do the crypto market any good, and the only ones who benefited from it were the short traders. They made good profits and were able to make some decent money. But the people who are going long and saying this is the bull run now, 2017, 2021, 2025, the bull run that's coming and will make us all rich, or at least get the taxi drivers raving about crypto again. That's how it was in the last bull runs, or rather in the last 4-year cycles, and it could happen again. But there are cryptocurrencies that are very far from ever reaching their all-time highs again. And for that, I've pulled out the list again, and this time it's up to date. It's from today. I just took a screenshot of it. 99.3% down from its all-time high. ICP is number 1 on this list. And here we see many well-known cryptocurrencies that are in the top 100. These are only the top 100 cryptocurrencies. I can move myself out of the way so you can see it, okay? Here we can see how far many are from their all-time highs. The hype around Trump has faded. The all-time high was 6 months ago, and it's down 88.2% from that. Then WorldCoin. Haven't really heard anything about it anymore, have you? Over a year ago, 91.9% down. VeChain, 92% down. Also haven't heard anything about it since. Algorand, which is also quite surprising, even though Algorand actually belongs to that specific category of ISO coins. So these particular ISO coins that many in the community have consistently said could potentially go up significantly if XRP experiences even a slight rise. But Algorand is gone too. Polkadot. I've said it again and again, Polkadot. I thought the idea behind Polkadot was great, but it came out way too late. It was decided 4 years later. So the vision was presented with this parachain and so on. All really nice. And 4 years later, the whole thing finally went live, or rather, their testnet went live first. Whoa, that's rough. Shouldn't they have started earlier? I think it really could have become something big, but in those 4 years, many other cryptocurrencies emerged. And why would I still need Polkadot if, for example, I have Avalanche or Cardano, which during those 4 years also managed to produce something? Yeah, why would I still need Polkadot, which just came out way too late? So there are a lot of cryptocurrencies, for example, Ethereum Classic, that were also included here, where I thought actually Ethereum Classic would rise along with Ethereum. Yes, they did go up a bit, but not that much. And many of them are still far off. So the question is, can these ever reach their all-time high again? You've seen the list. Feel free to write your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to take advantage of low prices, then check out the crypto exchange CoinEx. CoinEx currently has a lot of cool offers in their reward center. You can easily buy cryptocurrencies, for example, through their app. It's available everywhere. So be sure to take a look. The app is super easy and straightforward. It also features a simple swap system. You can easily buy cryptocurrencies using their third-party function. And we can see that here. For the most expensive option, 1 USDT currently costs 89 cents, and for the cheapest, 86 cents with no additional fees here, while there are still some fees added there. You can buy USDT here, but you can also buy Bitcoin directly through their third-party trading. All of this is available in many different currencies. And their simple swap function really makes it easy to buy cryptocurrencies here. You have access to over 1,000 cryptocurrencies here. You can easily swap them back and forth just like on a DEX. You can see the most popular swap pairs all available and visible here. And at the same time, you can trade futures here. So you can go long and short here. You can do this with over 500 cryptocurrencies or simply buy spot. So you can buy cryptocurrencies, for example, here in USDT with over, you can see how small this scroll bar is, over 1,100 cryptocurrencies that you can easily buy spot here. And of course, you can take advantage of the current low prices. If you're interested in other exchanges, then check out our exchange comparison. You can find it on our homepage. There we've compared over 10 crypto exchanges and listed all the pros and cons. Check it out via the links in the video description or in the pinned comment. And yes, after 2 nuclear submarines were sent out, things continue immediately on the geopolitical front. And all of this, of course, just adds fuel to the fire. 2 nuclear powers clashing with each other, and the first posts are already appearing. This was viewed 6.4 million times on the BRICS news page. Namely, President Trump says we are fully prepared for a nuclear war with Russia. That was another post from him, and that was the shocking statement, and of course all of this continued to cause further reactions in the market, and the whole thing just keeps going. Here's yet another post, fully prepared for a nuclear war, and of course posts are already appearing and being reported on who actually has how many nuclear weapons. And of course it goes on from there immediately. So this topic is currently being extremely hyped up, and it's only logical that with such a sensitive issue, prices are correcting downward and of course don't look positive because they're initially pricing in the worst case scenario. And if it doesn't turn out that way in the end, prices can rise again or react positively. Of course, it should be said that with all this panic mongering that's happening again, you need to stay completely calm. Naturally, 2 nuclear submarines have been deployed for now. Are there really nuclear weapons on board? Are they actually loaded? That's questionable, but it's assumed that they really are there, because otherwise they could have just sent regular submarines. In any case, one thing is clear. Nobody wants to immediately press a red button and launch a nuclear weapon here. But of course, you have to assume the worst at first, and that's what the markets do in many situations. Whether it's interest rate decisions, where the markets might initially react positively if rates are lowered, or react negatively if rates are not lowered or are even raised. It's the same with these kinds of geopolitical issues, especially when it involves 2 major powers, or rather 2 of the biggest powers, in this case, Russia and the USA. The whole topic is sensitive and you really have to be careful about what you say. I say, I don't think it will come to that. For that to happen, things would really have to escalate extremely between the two, but a lot is happening behind the scenes, and that needs to be analyzed and summarized. Then you can actually see why a war of words can quickly lead to such a measure, because many things are happening in the background. For example, Iran is currently being supplied again. There are a lot of posts about this, several in fact. I picked out the one from Defense Intelligence. Russia, China, and also North Korea are flooding Iran with weapons and ammunition in a massive armament offensive. And of course, this information is really interesting. It's absolutely up to date from this very morning. But several channels, these so-called war news channels, have also posted that an arms buildup is taking place in Iran. All of this is happening in the background, and of course the US is aware of it, even though Israel is currently blocking everything else and, you could say, is acting a bit on its own, at least if you believe the German media. And I think they just don't want to acknowledge this news. And a German foreign minister who is trying to smooth things over. I think they have other concerns, because if Iran continues to arm itself, the whole thing could start all over again, or they could reposition themselves for the coming years and develop new missile and defense systems. So the whole issue of Iran, Israel, but also the USA and Russia, which are of course the 2 major players, and behind the scenes it's perhaps Iran and Israel who are being supported, for example Iran in this case even by China and North Korea. The whole topic is nasty, and all of this is happening in the background. At the same time, there are also statements like this one. For example, BRICS News reported that Donald Trump said he would allow refugees from Ukraine to stay in the USA. That's another topic where Russia feels provoked again, as if to say now the USA is taking in lots of refugees from Ukraine, and if we end up getting some of those territories, we won't have any residents left there. The whole issue is pretty complicated. And even though we have war topics on top, we also have the issue of inflation going on in the background, and that's still continuing. So again, here he has posted something new on Truth Social. You can also verify or check all of this through the first account I showed you here. Of course, I'll post all the links you find in this video down below again. He posted again saying, "It's too late, Jerome. A little too late, but way too late. It's a disaster. Finally lower the interest rates." And of course, this continues to be the issue that weighs on the markets, because they're saying, look, actually inflation is under control. The EU, or rather the European Central Bank, has already set an example. They've already lowered interest rates. So what is the USA doing? Nothing at all. If the USA were to lower interest rates, that would of course boost the markets much more than just the ECB doing it. That doesn't really matter much to the global financial market. Maybe for European companies, who could then invest a bit more and perhaps make another push on the global stage. But the USA is really crucial here. If interest rates are lowered there, then things could get interesting. And at the end of the video, I thought, you know what? I still have so many things that I can give away, raffle off, and so on. I'd like to do another giveaway, which we'll get to in a moment. First of all, as you know, for me, I love memes. And of course, memes are fitting here. And right now, it's all about the so-called Trump dump. So here are the memes. And here's another one. You all know it. Trump dropping bombs on my bags, or rather my investments, which took a hit from this Trump dump yesterday, because those 2 nuclear submarines were sent out, causing all the markets to crash or drop. Yeah, it's not nice to see all this happening right now, but I think this helps put the market into perspective and understand why all of this is happening and what's going on at the moment. If you have any further questions, feel free to write them in the comments. You're now up to date on what's happening and why the crypto market is dumping right now with the Trump dump. With that, see you in the next video. Bye.